We just want to inform everyone that we'll be recording this session, and if ever you participate in any part and you feel uncomfortable with us sharing the video publicly, you can send us a message after this webinar, and we'll redact you from the video. And yeah, just please read through the reminders. Also, we just want to emphasize that we'll be sending a post-evaluation link in the Zoom chat after this session, where you'll be able to receive your certificates of attendance right after filling up the eval. And if ever you get disconnected, because I know it's very rainy now, so maybe some of you might get disconnected by the end, please send us a message as soon as possible so we can send you the post-evaluation link. And for our Q&A, we'll be using Pigeonhole. So Athena will be sending the link to that in the chat box, or you can go to pigeonhole.at and enter the code PW Mental Health. So if ever you have any questions throughout the session, just drop it there in Pigeonhole, and Ms. Talon will be able to address it during the Q&A portion. And for those who aren't yet familiar with us, we're Positive Workplaces, and we have a mission of co-creating cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. And one way we do that is through this free webinar series, which we have monthly. And this is also our way of giving back to our community who support us. So thank you very much for all your support throughout all our webinars. And for this month, our theme is inclusivity. And our first two sessions focused on workplace inclusion during the pandemic and creating safe spaces for diversity. And for today, our final webinar of the series, Ms. Talon will be focusing on how we can navigate mental health for a more inclusive workplace.
Yeah. So hello everyone. So as she mentioned, we will be talking about mental health today. And as you all know, the pandemic has forced us into our homes and has made us more aware of how we take care of ourselves physically. We always have to follow protocols, maghuhugas ng kamay, always sanitizing. So we pay so much attention to our physical health that sometimes we end up neglecting our mental health. So in a study by McKinsey, 90% of employers reported that the COVID-19 crisis has affected the mental health and the productivity of their workforce. In a local study, MindNation found that 23% of Filipino workers stated that they have thought of quitting due to mental health and well-being challenges. So whether you are working from home or maybe some of you have already been reporting to your offices, it's vital that we talk about mental health in the workplace. And to help us have that conversation, let me formally introduce our speaker for this afternoon. She is a mental health advocate and a human resource professional. She was formerly the Vice Chairperson for Luzon of the Youth for Mental Health Coalition and co-headed the very first National Youth Congress on Mental Health in October 2017. She graduated cum laude from the University of Santo Tomas with a bachelor's degree in behavioral science. Her professional experience comprised of almost 5 years in the human resources field with exposure on compensation and benefits, training and organizational development, and her current work as a human resource business partner. So now, without further ado, let me turn over the Zoom floor for today's speaker, Ms. Chrystalyn Condino.
All right. Thank you very much, Kurchi, and the whole of the Positive Workplaces team. And good afternoon, everyone. And of course, thank you as well to all of those who joined in this discussion and in this webinar. I know and I assume Saturday for most of us is our rest days or our days off. So really having you here is an honor, and it's even an bigger honor not to be invited as well as a resource speaker for today. I see that we have also a participant who is a UST Best graduate. So hello, shout out to you. All right. So well, now before anything else, let me share my screen first, and then yeah, and I'd just like to check if you're seeing it now so that we can go ahead with the discussion. All right, thank you, Chi. So yeah, first and foremost, no, welcome again and happy Saturday. I hope that in the next few minutes, you'll get to learn about the things I have learned as well, no, and my observations as well as a human resource practitioner, as mentioned, no, Bikert a while ago, and also as a mental health advocate who's also um really interested to ensuring that we have mental well-being for all our people in the workplaces. So there but before anything else, allow me, although Kurt has mentioned or gave a very kind introduction of myself a while ago. Just a few information about me. But I will not. Don't worry, I will not drain the discussion on this slide. So I'm Talene. The five attributes that you're seeing below my name are actually the my top five strengths from the Gallup Strengths Finder. So I find myself more um interested in work that is more of strategic in nature. At the same time, I like work wherein I get to learn stuff. So really, new things excite me. Um, there and then what I do on a daily basis at the moment, I am a human resource business partner. Even though I am interested in a lot of causes, no, a lot of advocacies, I still it's still mental health that I hold very very close to my heart. And then on my free time, I write, I read, and I also listen to music. So those are my interests. But of course, at this time, no, in this Saturday, beautiful Saturday, of course, what we're going to talk about is navigating mental health in the workplace for inclusivity. So just also caveat, no, of course, the things that I will be sharing with you are actually also based from experience and also based from the knowledge that I have gathered all throughout the years as a mental health advocate and also as a human resource professional. So I hope later on in the discussion my experiences also will be helpful for you guys, and at the same time you get to have a few takeaways, concrete takeaways or concrete action items wherein you can resonate with, and hopefully they can also help you along the way. As I know and as I assume we're also working people not in the call. So there. But before we go into the chunk of the discussions, now I'd like to get to hear about you first, you guys first. No, so we will start with our first mentee questions. Ayan. So I heard that in Positive Workplaces, the webinar that we have are really interactive. So let's go to menti.com first, no, using your phones, using your computer, and then select or input the code 29661164. Ayan. Sige. So Chi or Kurt, are you going to help me here, or do you want me to proceed na?
Well, you can proceed, but would you like us to help you?
Sige, carry lang. Yun na lang. Thank you, Chi.
Okay, so please go to menti.com and answer what comes into your mind when you hear healthy workplace. And Athena also sent the link in the chat box. Okay, so Talin, some people are starting to share their answers.
Yes, and the responses are actually picking up. So these are things na gusto ko lang din talagang malaman muna. No? I want to get to know ano ba yung insights nyo, or what are your ideas right now of what the healthy workplace is. Yan, let's start with that, and then the second question later on. Yan. Good working environment, compassionate coworkers, a workplace that respects a person's boundaries, right? Accepting, safe, kind coworkers. Yes. Free to say what you feel. Yeah. Actually, while as I'm reading, no, the answers, I'm also I have a few flashbacks on my mind right now. But yeah, these are good insights. They're good answers. A place where there is growth and you feel physically and emotionally safe. Yeah. Work-life balance, friendly people, productive, highly engaged employees. Very good. Stress-free and collaborative environment. Okay. Balance despite work from home setup, having a life outside of work. All right. So I think we have 27 answers now. No, Chi?
Yes.
Sige. How many are we na din ba? We have 60 plus participants. So let's give them a few more seconds, or I'm good na if you're good na din.
Okay, so if ever anyone wants to add, feel free to do so. But yeah, Talin, go ahead.
Yes. All right. Sige. Actually, we have one more mentee question. Just the last
Okay.
one. The second one. So the first one I asked you what's the first thing that comes to your mind though when you hear healthy workplace? And then the second one I'd like to hear from you guys is, as an employee or somebody working, what is one important factor for you? What is one important thing, no, for you, in terms of building a mentally healthy workplace?
Open
See, that's we have one open-minded administrators. I guess leadership, no, the management team, and supportive colleagues, psychological safety, uh-huh, good relationship with colleagues, understanding management, good compensation, uh-huh, motivating management, rest day, co-employee and management attitude. So mostly really on ano, no, on the side of the leaders. So management and also with the environment itself. Unity and openness, security, available mental health programs and services in place. Yeah, I agree. I agree also. Sige, let's give them a few more seconds. Pero sige, just to also give you an idea why I'm asking these things to. These are actually things that I'd like you, or ideas that I'd like you to hold on to. We're still starting the discussion, but later on, hopefully, um, actually there is a part in the discussion in the latter part, no, wherein I hope it will also it will again surface into your minds, no, at the moment we are reading through your answers and the answers of those in the call. But later on, hopefully, you'll also get to think about these things. Ayan. So hold on to them. Think about them. Think about other people's answers. Think about your answer as well. And as we deep deeper dive, no, into the discussion. Ayan. Sige. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for participating in that Menti questionnaire. Later on, we'll still have a few more. So yeah, and I really encourage you guys to participate, and it will also have a part now wherein I'll ask you guys questions. Yan. Okay, so I will continue. Thank you, Chi and team, no, for helping me with the Menti questions. Okay, so just a recap of what we're going to discuss, no, for this session. Practically, we'll have four segments. First is let's discuss why is mental well-being important for employers and employees. Now, we have a lot of seminars or webinars or discussions revolving around why it's very important for employees to maintain their mental well-being, right? um and sometimes they even think about, is there also, are employers also benefiting from it? I mean, is it also important, no, for employers or for businesses to keep their employees mentally healthy? Of course, it's easy to answer yes, but later on in the discussion, let's look into why is it important, no, for employers as well. Second part of the discussion is one of the, I don't know, um more common mental health issue, or more common issue rather, no, in the workplace setting, no, so burnout. What is burnout? And then lastly, no, we'll discuss and hopefully also get to share some of the things that I know and I hope can help, no, in terms of making our workplaces sane, in terms of ensuring that we are mentally well, mentally healthy, no, even we are working. And then later on, as she and team has mentioned, we'll also have a Q&A portion wherein I hope to be able to answer your questions there. So with that, let's jump right into the first segment, which is talking about why is mental well-being important for employers and employees. And I will start, no, by asking you guys to take a pause and look back in the recent months, no, siguro not just even within the duration of the pandemic, or when the pandemic started, there might have been a lot of webinars related to mental health, no, that you've attended. Can you count nga how many yung na-attend mo, no, nyo na individually, no? Count how many webinars or siguro yung kahit simple discussions on mental health, no, have you engaged in or have you participated in? And then next, think about how many of those are sponsored by your employer or your companies. that you are currently part of. No. Of course, each of us would have different answers. Some of you may have attended a lot na, no? Siguro yung iba monthly pa. And then the others, they might even answer that this is the first one. As for myself, actually within the duration of the pandemic, I transferred no to a different employer. So both naman of my employers actually have available webinars and discussions and promotion of mental health in the workplace, which is I'm also grateful for. Pero ayun, with your answers and Karen, even no from my experience, why do you think ginagawa yun ng employers natin? I mean, we have like for example, like now, we have a lot of groups, we have a lot of advocacy groups and even organizations no like positive workplaces conducting these webinars or these discussions no for people to have more awareness on mental health. So dahil meron naman ng mga groups na established that are doing these, so why bother no from the perspective of our employers? And so now, so bakit nga ba? Yan. I'd like to think no that practically and simply put, employers and employees kasi benefit from one another, from each other. No, while employees no benefit from employers by means of being provided with job opportunities, and a means no to be financially capable. Employers, on the other hand, benefit from employees naman because at the end of the day, the people or the employees or the workforce are the ones who enable businesses to survive and thrive. No, without the people, how will a business no or a company run? Of course, you may say na right now naman, I mean, artificial intelligence is in the works. Automation is very much widely accepted and even promoted. No, but at the end of the day, um, we cannot deny the fact that human beings are irreplaceable part of organizations. That is why, at the end of the day, if we look at it from an employer and also an employee standpoint, each of us benefit from each other. There is somehow no a parang codependency with each other, and that is why it's important for both employers and employees to look into mental well-being no of the people. And at the end of the day, or if we look into it na if we take an individual's point of view no, in terms of work kasi, hold on, yan. No, having a job no or having a work kasi, it does not just satisfy or help us fulfill no not just one dimension of wellness. So I'm not sure if you guys are already familiar with the 8 dimensions of wellness no, but practically kasi having work or having our jobs no, we actually tinitignan ko rin yung dimensions, tinignan ko siyang mabuti. Tapos inisip ko, ano nga ba yung mga dimensions na matatouch? Kasi if you look into, parang pag pinag-usapan natin yung work, and then we parang pag binangga natin siya dun sa 8 dimensions of mental of wellness, parang may isip natin it only touches the financial dimension of wellness, but actually it does not just touch the financial dimension of wellness. It also touches the occupational dimension and also the social dimension, because when we talk about occupational dimension of wellness, we talk about an individual's capability no or ability to use his or her talents, strengths, and also skills to put it into good use. So eventually, at work, no, most especially if you really like the job that you're doing, if you're really, if it's really what you want, at the end of the day, di ba, it somehow makes us feel good that we're able to put these things or talents to good use. At the same time, of course, with the relationships that we are able to build in our workplaces and our teams, no, this also helps us fulfill the social dimension of wellness. So at the end of the day, although admittedly, I'm pretty sure ano naman, each of us have found ourselves tired at the end of a work day, no, siguro most of, siguro madami sa atin, kahapon, kaka-Friday lang, di ba? Tapos by Monday, pagod na naman yung feeling. Work is something na it's not always fun, no, but at the end of the day, work is not always bad. And actually, work is good because it also helps us in terms of ensuring that we are well, or that we are also fulfilling some parts, no, or some dimensions of wellness. Ayan. And then, if we look at an employer standpoint naman, or the business standpoint, employees kasi, this is actually more often used, no, kapag we talk about or discuss human resources. Kasi even when I was in college, um, nung mga first few subjects ko pa lang in human resources, ito na agad yung talagang tumatak sa akin, that the people in an organization are actually the most important assets, or they are the most valuable assets, because at the end of the day, sabi ko kanina, we are irreplaceable, no, even though there is automation or AI or a lot of robotics and all, still human ingenuity cannot be replaced. And that is why it's very, very important for employers to take care of their employees, not just physically, of course, for the purpose of discussion, of course, at the same time, mentally. So let's talk about, so yeah, sinabi natin na it's important for employers, no, and employees to ensure that we are mentally well, that we are mentally healthy. And this might have been discussed na rin siguro in the previous webinars, or even in the seminars that you were able to attend na rin previously. Pero sige, let's look at definition of mental health kasi, no, by the World Health Organization. So according to WHO, mental health is a state of well-being. So more than parang yung first thoughts natin popping into mind is mental health is parang mental health disorders or depression or anxiety. We hope that we shift that, no, mindset, that when we talk about mental health, we're actually talking about a state of well-being, wellness, no, wherein somebody is able to identify, realize, no, his or her own ability, so he or she can identify his or her strengths, what he or she cannot do, what he or she can do as well, no, and be able to use this to function productively, and to be able to make a contribution to his or her society, or to the group that he or she belongs in. And take note, in the definition of World Health Organization, we also have here that when we talk about mental health, we are not actually doing away with stresses of life, no. Um, Sige, tanungin ko kayo, sino dito hindi pa nasa stress sa buhay nila? I guess not. I would assume no. Lahat naman tayo na stress na. And really, stress is a part of life. But the more important thing is when we um talk about mental health and well-being, um, pinaka-important is that we are able to manage the stress. You know, we're still able to cope with life, because stress usually comes from external factors. And for us to for us being able to cope or manage stress, it is a manifestation of us being mentally healthy or mentally well. Ayan. So, and with the definition of mental health, no, by WHO, pagtitingnan natin siya, imagine if our workplaces or businesses or employers are promoting mental health and well-being in organizations, no. Imagine how each individual can function or really be at their best, no, in terms of working or performing. Kasi when we ensure that people are mentally healthy, no, at work, then we can also ensure that people get to contribute, no, on a daily basis. And even though yun nga, there are stresses, there are stressors, no, at work, they are still able to function properly. Ayan. And so, ayun, now that we have an idea, no, of why mental health is important for employers and employees, just a few, and then parang visualization, no, because um I do believe that promoting mental health in the workplace, it also enables no employers reducing absenteeism, lost productivity, and also harmful work relationships. And of course, if we kung ano yung parang opposite niya, no, um and the impact if we promote mental health in the workplace is actually, hold on, increased engagement of our workforce, performance and productivity, and at the same time, positive working environment and the positive employee experience for our people. So, if you come to look at it, kanina nga sabi ko, siguro if tatanungin ako kung important ba as an HR, as an HR business partner and at the same time as a mental health advocate, kung tatanungin ako, important ba sa employers that they promote mental health and well-being in organizations? Of course, I'll answer yes. But, and it's, parang ano nga siya, no-brainer. It's easy, it's really easy to answer yes. But if we look into the impact kasi, it's actually big. Kasi ito siya, it does not just impact the individual. So you see, if somebody is not mentally well, or if somebody isn't encountering mental health problems or mental health issues, diba, it has an impact, or it has an effect to the individual. See absenteeism, at the same time it has an effect to the team or the businesses, because it can cause lost productivity, and at the same time it can also harm, no, or it can also affect the teams or the your colleagues, no, in the means of harmful work relationships. So practically, no matter how parang seemingly small it seems, no, for one person having a mental health issue or having a mental health condition, um it creates ripples kasi. I believe parang the term ripples is also one of the favorite terms of positive workplaces, no. But really it creates ripples. It doesn't just affect the person who's encountering or having mental health challenges or problems, no. It ripples in a way that it will affect the teams, it will affect the organization. Ayan. So that is why at the end of the day, while we are really beginning to accept the concept of mental health and well-being in the Philippines, um, I'm also happy to see that organizations more and more are really focusing na rin on ensuring that their people are, alam mo yun, mentally healthy. And they're also starting to really promote mental well-being in organizations. And even in the midst of the pandemic, no, I believe it also really magnified the need, because within the period of the pandemic, talagang mas nag-rise din yung anxiety, yung uncertainties, no, that most especially the working force have, considering that our unemployment rate is also really getting high. So ayan. So yun, that is practically my answer to why mental health is important to employers and employees. Now, let's jump into the second topic, which is what is burnout. Ayan. But I'd like to start with the caveat. Of course, this is not a diagnostic session. At the end, and at the same time, burnout is also not a medical condition. No, that's one thing I want to be clear about. Um, so in the next few slides, I'll be discussing, of course, what I know about burnout, its definition, and at the same time, siguro how we can help then ourselves if we're feeling burnt out, or how you can also help colleagues who you might observe, no, to be feeling burnt out. Ayan. Okay, so let's start with the definition of burnout. So from WHO again, burnout is a state of physical or emotional exhaustion conceptualized as resulting from chronic. Ibig sabihin, it has been ongoing, or it has been present, no, for a long period of time, from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. Ibig sabihin, when we talk about burnout, we are more likely or most likely talking about a phenomenon that is triggered by our occupations. No, so occupational siya in nature. It is arising from our jobs, no, or from our work. But I've also learned that burnout is also actually ano siya, it also is a sum of the experiences of a person, no. So galing din siya, kumbaga may factor din on a personal life perspective of a person, but mostly talaga ang trigger ng burnout is our jobs. So you can say that burnout or job burnout is one of the major issues, no, that workplaces in the Philippines encounter when it comes to mental health. Actually, it is the most common when we look into workplaces in the Philippines, no. Ayan. And um sige, now that we know what burnout is by definition, siguro it's also good, no, for us to know how do we how do we check if somebody is feeling burnt out or somebody is experiencing that phenomenon already. Ayan. So with that, let's go to Menti again. No, with the same code to, no, Chi. Alright. Sige. So let's go to Menti. I hope more people will be joining. Sumagot na sila. Ayan. Sige. But I think, may isa pa lang pala. Ayan. Sige, let's see. So the questions that actually these are statements, no? Just have to rate them from 1 to 5, I believe. 1 being the lowest, meaning you strongly disagree, and then 5 being the highest, meaning you strongly agree. So the first statement is, I feel a sense of fulfillment from my current role. Second, I feel connected with my colleagues. Third, I feel motivated to report to work. Ayan. Sige, let's check on the answers. We have 17, so it's slowly picking up. Ayan. But then later on, in the next slide, actually, we'll also be showing some of the few questions that we might want to ask ourselves. If ever that you are already having that question, no, on your mind, kung nakaramdam ka na talaga ng pagod from work, ganyan. So, and hopefully those will be helpful for you as well. Ayan, we now have 24 questions, answers. Ayan. And I'm here sa chat box. Nag-check din ako. Ayan. So we have 28 answers in. So I think I can ano naman na. I can proceed na with the discussion na Ayan, hold on. Let me share my screen. Ayan. Okay. So practically, no, and from the answers naman, from mentee, no, I can see that a lot of us are generally relatively engaged naman, no, in terms of your current role and in terms of your current employments. Although I'm not sure pala where you're coming from then as well. Ayan. But again, let's move on to kanina we've discussed what burnout is by definition. So let's just check on parang what are the um indicators, no, that somebody is already experiencing burnout. So according to Mayo Clinic, no, these are, I'm not going to discuss all questions, no, but when we feel burnt out, kasi generally we feel um a feeling of not being motivated or not being engaged nor interested anymore to the current function, to the current role that we're having, and even this extends to our relationships then at work. So if ever that you feel like you're feeling ano na, job burnt out na, and also you're starting to question, and if ever that you have a lot of yes answers to these questions. Again, this is not a diagnostic session, but hopefully these things would also help you lang if ever you're also in the midst of parang identifying where you're at right now in terms of your job. No, hopefully this helps. But the I think that I'd like to note here, and I'd like to put emphasis on, is if ever na you answered yes or you're feeling burnt out na rin talaga in your jobs, I would really encourage you to seek the help of a mental health professional, because um although burnt out or job burnout is not technically a diagnosis or a medical condition. No, more often than not, it is actually linked to more mental health issues, or conditions like depression or anxiety. So, if ever that you're feeling burnt out, of course, at the end of the day, it's better na the earlier kasi that we catch it, the earlier that it will be addressed, or it will be treated. Ayan. So, siguro not just but also the people that you get to interact with at work. If you're seeing na perhaps a colleague is feeling burnt out, ganyan. These are um hopefully helpful identifiers, no. Ayan. And if we look into why this phenomenon or this experience is happening, these are actually the possible causes. So number one, lack of control, because this is coming from a more occupational setting. So in work, when we talk about lack of control, there are types of jobs kasi, or there may be employees that really has this need to be more of in control in terms of how they do their work. So sometimes, 'di ba, the work that we do, ano siya, may mga proseso, may mga kailangan tayong sundin na step by step instructions on how we will accomplish work. No, sometimes um people really do get frustrated following those kind of work, and eventually, of course, when you experience it for a long time, it unfortunately sometimes leads to job burnout. The next, unclear job expectations. Yan. Just want to share that as an HR business partner, this is one of the things na I really do um put emphasis on, no, when I talk to the people I support, or even in before as also an OD officer. Yeah. Kasi when we talk about job expectations, 'di ba? It's very essential na on the onset pa lang that somebody is being on board to your teams, or fulfilling a role, no. It's very important na alam niya na kung ano yung targets niya, ano yung priorities niya, alam niya yung expectations niya, because this can cause frustration to the person if ever that he or she feels na hindi niya na-meet the expectations, because sa una pa lang, hindi niya alam kung ano yung expectations. So, what I really promote, no, agad-agad, is that whenever a person is on board, your team, if you're a leader, if or if you're new to an organization, make sure that you get to sit with your boss or your lead or your manager and talk about what the expectations are, no, that come with your role, because it will also serve as a guide, no, for you to be more successful and thrive in your role. Ayan. So that you won't get frustrated, and then eventually you'll get, alam mo yun, mararamdaman mo na lang yung pagod kasi you'll feel na hindi enough yung ginagawa mo, kasi what do you know if it's hindi naman pala dapat yun yung ginagawa mo, di ba? Ayan. Next, dysfunctional workplace dynamics. If ever na an employee or someone does not know kanino siya nagre-report, sino yung pwede niyang lapitan, kung ito yung concern niya. Yan, those are the things that are, ano no, that can cause frustration for employees. Next, extremes of activity. When we talk about extremes of activity, we talk about um, parang siyang, sige, we have this, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term emotional labor. Sometimes kasi, our jobs require us to appear and sound in a certain way, wherein because we have to appear and sound in a certain way, we have to put out emotions. Siguro let's compare it to an ATM. 'Di ba when syempre kapag ka kinakailangan nag-withdraw si ATM ng cash. There are some jobs that because they need to appear or sound in a certain way, they always have to withdraw emotions. And when they continue to withdraw and withdraw the whole day and for a certain period of time, syempre, mauubusan din ng emotions or in the form of ATM, nauubusan din siya ng cash. Diba? So, if some jobs kasi really do have really require that certain kind of setup, no, and of course if this runs for a very very long time, people get exhausted, people feel drained kasi nga it's ano siya, extremes of the activity, like you need to be this way all the time, no, like wala siyang pahinga, ganon. Next is lack of support. Lack of support, both no at work and also in their personal life. So if ever that they don't have a support system at work or even at homes, or they don't feel the support of their bosses in terms of their career aspirations, this can also cause job burnout. And then finally, of course, work-life imbalance. Going back to the 8 dimensions of wellness a while ago, remember, yeah, work does help us know keep ourselves well because it touches not just one, not just two, but three actually, no, that I've mentioned a while ago. But at the end of the day, we have 8, and we also need to allot time for the other dimensions of wellness. That is why it's very important that we have work-life balance, because our work cannot satisfy all the dimensions of wellness. Um, Kasi sometimes, no, eto to be honest, I for for the past few years, I'm really guilty of this. Um, hindi ko na balance ng maayos yung ano ko, no, yung work and life, personal life. And before my excuse is I don't believe in work-life balance. I only believe in work-life integration or work-life harmony. Which is, well, at the end, ano naman, I still promote naman work-life harmony. But at the end of the day, you need to also allot time and energy for the other things apart from work. Because again, work cannot satisfy all the dimensions of wellness. Ayan. So those are the possible causes, no, of burnout. And so yun, if ever na parang nandun ka na sa point nga na you're already feeling burnt out or pagod ka na, or you're seeing people that you love feeling burnt out, or colleagues, no, that are appearing to be burnt out, what to do? Ayan. What can we do? What are the small things that we do, no? Um yeah, I have three. No. Number one is evaluator options. Um, and when I say evaluator options, I don't mean resign agad. When you feel na you are getting exhausted from your job, you're getting exhausted from your role, your current role, or your current job, um, reach out to your boss and then um let him or her know what you're feeling, and then ako kasi I really believe na building your career or building a good employee experience for yourself, hindi mo lang siya trabaho, hindi lang din siya trabaho ng boss mo, or hindi lang siya din siya trabaho ng HR department. It is the job of everyone in an organization. So if you're feeling na napapagod ka na sa current role mo, you feel na hindi siya working for you, let your boss know, because at the end of the day, um, they can and they should help you in terms of your career aspiration, and they cannot help you if you won't let them know that you need help as well, which is also related to the second parang action that I would like to promote, is to seek support, which, as I've mentioned a while ago, if ever that you're feeling burnt out, ganyan, it's going to be helpful that you reach out to a mental health professional. Because yun nga, it's better na we roll out any more serious mental health condition or issue. And then lastly is practice mindfulness. This one you can do on your own. Practically mindfulness, we have a lot of parang varied activities that you can do to ensure na you are um, you stay in that state of being mentally aware and mentally conscious of what's happening to you and also around you. So this can be in the form of yoga. And although I believe parang hindi naman lahat tayo nag-yoga, or naman lahat tayo nagpa-practice ng mindfulness exercises, but I really also recommend them. But at the end of the day, this is something that I'd like to parang put emphasis on na rin, no? In terms of dealing with mental health problems or mental health conditions or even job burnout, there is no linear way, or there is no one best way to approach or address these things. What can work for me might not work for Chi. What might work for Chi might not work for Kurt or for Athena or for any one of you. Because we all have different needs, we all have different um coping mechanisms, no, and sometimes it does take trial and error, but at the end of the day, what's important is that you take action and you do not give up on yourself in picking yourself up if ever you feel burnt out, or if ever you have you feel that you're already feeling, or you're already experiencing a mental health condition. So that's it. That is for our second topic, which is burnout. And I hope somehow, no, with the actions that I have mentioned up, it will also be helpful. Now, let us proceed to the last part of the discussion, which is how can I make my workplace sane? So this is actually one of the parang titles then that we use that our organization use, my current organization use, no, when we have parang webinars or talks, no, on mental health, because most especially in this time of the pandemic, like most of us, no, even kayo naman guys din siguro, I think most of us are working from home. And um believe me or not, I am one of the persons who believe na workplaces or establishments are really um ang tawag dito, are really yeah, offices are really established for a reason. So I really find myself not too productive at home. Ganyan. So of course, dahil nga ganun, I had to make some um efforts, no, I had to exert some efforts to ensure that syempre araw-araw ko nagkitrabaho, hindi naman ako pwedeng araw-araw mag-leave, di ba? So I have to do something for me to continuously be productive, and at the same time to continuously be mentally healthy as well. Ayan. Okay, so um, if you ask me how can I make my workplace sane, to be honest, as I have mentioned a while ago, um, parang ano, I don't have a straight answer for you. Um, it's always gonna be, it depends. And it's always gonna be um, there's it's always going to be, there is not one best way for you to make yourself for you to sustain no yung mental wellness, and also for you to keep yourself or your workplace sane. Because yun nga, at the end of the day, we have different coping mechanisms, we have different needs, we have different um ways then on how we can we can be productive and mentally well again. But if you ask me, the important thing is people are enabled, no. um we talk about parang keeping ourselves or making workplaces sane. um we we don't want to just talk about parang how parang what are the steps that can be done by an individual, what are the steps that can be done by an employee. We should also talk about what can employers do. And with that, it's very important, and naniniwala talaga ako in the concept of enablement, or enabling somebody, enabling the employers, and also enabling the employees. That is why, unahin muna natin, no, siguro yung enabling employers. And these are practically things of legal matter. So hindi naman ako masyadong mag-discuss ng mental health law, and also the department orders or the memorandum orders, no, or memorandum circulars rather, that we have in place. But what I'd like to emphasize is, in the Philippines, no, we already have these um, statutes in place for us to ensure, or for our government to ensure, that our employers, both from the private sector and also from the public sector, are ensuring that their employees are covered by mental health programs and also mental health policies. No, so we have the mental health law, which is RA 11036. And in Section 36 of the mental health law, we have mental health promotion and policies in the workplace. By the way, the mental health law celebrated its anniversary last month, June 21. It's their anniversary. So yeah, but of course, at the end of the day, the mas important pa rin na the provisions of the law are being enacted, or that they are being ensured na talagang they're benefiting, no, the Commonwealth. Ayan. And then supplement to that is the Department of Labor and Employment Department Order 208 for our private sector. So this is the guidelines, no, that we have for implementation of mental health policies in the workplace, and also programs again in the private sector. Now, for the public sector naman, we have our CSC Memorandum Circular number 4. Okay, so of course, these three documents are quite lengthy and quite texty, no, pero in a nutshell, they are documents, or they are statutes, no, that wish to institute mental health policies and programs in the workplaces, or in establishments, or in companies, no, that number one, will raise awareness. Number two, prevent stigma and discrimination. Number three, provide support to workers who may be at risk, or to those who are already have no mental health conditions, and facilitate access, of course, to mental health services for employees. So these are practically the things that our government, or the mental health law, the DOLE department order, and also CSC memorandum circular wishes to ensure employees will get to enjoy, no, or to benefit from. So ayan, ako personally, I would encourage that you be also familiar with the provisions, of course, of mental health law, no, and also the DO, and also the memorandum circular, um which also brings us to somehow, no, parang ano lang, a few facts, or things that I hope you get to remember. Parang ano siya, significant or salient provisions of the three statutes that I have mentioned. Ayan. So at this point, I will be flashing a few questions no on the screen, and then you using our chat box. Ayan. So answer lang kayo. I'm not sure if may pa-prize tayo or if possible yon. Pero let me know lang kung manonote nyo, Chi, yung unang makakasagot na 5. Sabihan niyo lang ako. Ayan, may papadala tayo sa kanila. Okay, sige. So number 1, may familiar kaya with the with the mental health law and the DO and circular. Ayan, sige. Finlash na. Okay, number 1, they should undergo capacity building on the identification, recognition of psychosocial hazards, and management of mental health problems. Sino yung dapat mag-undergo ng capacity building? Letter A, HR department. Letter B, management team and HR department. And letter C, occupational safety and health and HR officers. Ayan, may nagsagot na ba? Sorry, hindi ko nakakita yung chat box.
Yes.
Ayan.
Most of them are saying letter C.
Alright. Okay. Yeah, most of them nga are answering letter C, no? Do we know sino yung nauna? Sino yung nasa view mo, Chi? Sorry.
John Vincent is first.
Okay. Alright, sige. So the correct answer, yes, is C. So that is John Vincent Arquero. Siya ba yung Tomasian best din? Sorry, hindi ko na naalala.
I think that was John Baluyan.
Okay, John. Okay, yan pala. Si John pala yan. Ayun, sige. Yun. USC Legazpi. Okay, sige. Ang layo pala, Albay. Hala, sige. Okay, sige. So, correct. It is your occupational safety and health and also HR officers that should undergo capacity building. By law, yun yung requirement. No? Mandatory. Pero this can also be extended, of course, to your even to all employees if kaya din ni company. Pero the one that should be undergoing these capacity building should be your OSHA and also HR officers. Ayan. Next, true or false? Hala, hindi ko na makita. Hold on. Paano to? Paano ko tanggalin yung shot? Ayan. True or false? Promotion of healthy lifestyle and work-life balance is not part of the required programs under DOLE DO 208. Not part. Ayan. True or false?
A lot are saying false.
Okay. False. So, true ba? Ayan. Sige. The correct answer is false. No, it is. It actually is part of the department of DOLE. So, it is just right now employers to really continue to promote a healthy lifestyle, life balance within organizations. Ayan. Cheap, sorry, panote na lang ako kung sinong first sa view mo, ha?
Yep.
Ayan.
No problem.
So, pala to. Okay. True or false? It is mandatory for all workplaces and establishments to formulate a mental health policy and program. Mandatory ba? Every organization, every company, private or public, formulate a mental health policy and program. And the answer is... The answer, of course, is... Yes, it is mandated. And it actually is the responsibility of course, for private sector, it is the responsibility to monitor whether companies have already implemented mental health policies and programs. And of course, on the part of our government or public sector, it's with DSC. Next question. If an employee is found to have a mental health condition, this person shall identify and certify fitness to work of the employee, the company nurse, A, B, attending psychiatrist, or C, occupational health physician. So it's a mixture of B and C. Alright. Alright, sige. It is a mixture of B and C. I would understand that a lot also are attending psychiatrists, but it actually is letter C, occupational health physician. So the fitness to work certification should be issued by an bulol pala o nasabi, occupational health physician, no? But of course, this should also be accompanied by an assessment of with an assessment of the employees attending mental health professional. So yon. But the official certification fitness to work should be from the occupational health physician. Yan. Yun yung i-honor ni company. Yan. Last question. So we have 5 questions. Thank you guys for participating. Ayan. Last question, true or false. Workers are encouraged to disclose their mental health condition to employers. What is stated? Are workers encouraged to disclose? True or false? Feeling ko magkakaroon ng mix of answers talaga dito. Ayan. True, false, true, false, true, false. Mix nga. Mixture nga. Sige. So, GNT, my view is from Fatima Zaira G. She answered true. That is actually the
Yes.
correct answer. Yeah. So thank you, Chi. It's actually the correct answer. Workers are encouraged to disclose their mental health condition to to their employers. Why? Because if somebody would be able to disclose no their mental health condition, then it also enables the employers to provide accommodation to these workers. Part of the mental health law kasi or also the department order no is for employers to provide accommodation to people, employees who have mental health conditions. So of course, if ever na this accommodation or parang um, a flexible work setup should be requested. Syempre, there would also be a need to disclose the health condition of the employee. Ayan. So again, it is, yes, correct. It is still the right of the person whether they will disclose or not. But as per law, it is encouraged. Yan. Correct. Correct. So, and if ever that employee will disclose, no, if ever the employee will disclose, it is the responsibility of the employer to make this information confidential. Ayan. So, the um the record no should be kept securely, and it should only be accessed no by people according to data privacy rules as well. Ayan. All right. So thank you very much everyone. So ayun, again no, I would really encourage everyone then to really familiarize yourselves as well with the contents of our RA 11036 and also our department orders, and for government employees our memorandum circular. Ayan. So that's it for enabling our employers. Now let's talk about enabling our employees as well. Kanina I have mentioned no that in terms of addressing concerns, even not just ano naman parang mental health concerns no. In terms of addressing issues in the workplace, um hindi siya work lang or effort. It shouldn't be an effort of a single person only. It should always be um a collective effort no from different levels in the organization. It should be with the employee and then the leader as well. Ayan. So when we talk about enabling employees to be to maintain mental wellness, mental well-being, no, um we have to promote, number one, for the leaders, no, most especially if we have managers siguro in the call or supervisors, no, please let's cultivate empathic leadership. um so what I want to share here is that I am very grateful, no, with my current boss, because she really listens to me. Um i i really admit that I am a very anxious person. Parang I really think about a lot of things. Parang ano pa lang, onset pa lang ng I really parang palaging naglilinger sa akin yung mga bagay na I have to worry about. And I am very open to my boss about this. Like kapag ka kinakabahan ako sa isang bagay, or kapag sobrang worried na ako sa isang item, ganyan, I let her know. And then, lalo na in the midst of the pandemic, no, remember, I have only been with this organization for less than a year, kasi nga I transferred last year. I feel like my boss right now can really listen to me in terms of um my feelings as a person. I feel like I am not um judged for whatever I will say. Ayun. And that is one thing that I am grateful about, kasi I feel like my whole self is being accepted, no. And the impact of that is I am able to share with my boss kung ano man yung mga kailangan. Parang we're very open with how we work on things, no, and it helps us deliver in terms of what we're expected to do with the work. Ayan. And I think the reason why I shared that is because yung impact kasi that leaders have on employees or their teams, it's really big. Diba sometimes people even stay or leave an organization because of sometimes not their boss, nor sometimes their leaders. And for those who are already managers or already leaders, no, in the call, it's going to be very important for you to really make your people feel that they are safe. um Psychologically, kanina somebody mentioned about psychological safety, no, being able to be open about what their opinions are, not just at work, but also with personal lives. But if in terms of work related na opinions, no, um we have to cultivate or establish that environment wherein people can really be open about their opinions, no, and suggestions to you. And eventually that will also help din kasi your relationship with each other. And again, it will also impact yung engagement, no, of your people, and of course their wellness then, in terms of being at work. Then next, of course, for colleagues as well, create a safe space for each other. One of the things that I have experienced in my previous company, no, is that I really feel like my teammates are people who I can um rely on kapag gusto kong umiyak. Pag sa work, pag super super stressed na ganyan, um I feel like it's a safe space for me to open about my feelings, my worries, um, my my thoughts about my career as well, ganyan. Because I'm pretty sure you've also felt that. You know, sometimes when things get parang tangled up, sometimes it helps just to let it out to someone who you know can listen to you, and can listen without judgment, and can listen even without really saying anything that parang isa-suggest nila to share with you that can help. Parang ganon. Just listening works, no? Ayan. And ito, one thing that I'd like to parang also remind everyone is, I hope we don't I hope we don't judge people um by the way that they're coping with certain stressors, ganyan. Because at the end of the day nga, as I mentioned a while ago, we have different ways of coping, and we have different um we have there are different things that would work for us. Parang again, one something that works for me may not work for you guys to in the call, and something that would work for you guys in the call would not work for me. So ayun, if there's a need for your colleagues to open up, ganyan, to be, if they are needing a safe space. So I hope each and every one of us can do that within our circles. And lastly, from for an individual naman, no, again, take action for yourself. And when we say take action for yourself, you have to, number one, first identify in terms of being at i- in the workplace, no, if you have a lot of stressors, or if you're feeling very very exhausted, or feeling na hindi na okay mentally, number one, identify what are your possible triggers. No, what frustrates you the most, what stresses you the most, and then once you've identified those, then that's the time that you can already know think about the things that you can do to really address yung nararamdaman mo rin. Ayan. And in the context of course, right now, working from home, yan, hindi naman ako ganyan mag-work from home, don't worry. Kita ko lang din siya sa internet. And in the context of working from home, marami sa atin siguro talagang experiencing challenges, not being able to focus, but compared to how we work, no, in our offices, ganyan. So here are a few things that I have also learned, kasi then in our current organization, we there is wide promotion, no, in terms of things that you can do to ensure that ano rin, you're keeping balance, or you're taking care of your mental health. Ayan. So, number one is be active. So, bakit mental health tapos physical naman yung sasabihin, no? Well, at the end of the day, mental health and physical health are actually linked to each other. So, when we were active, kasi these the activities that we do also release hormones, no, that are helpful for our brains, no, and yeah, doing this consistently will also help our mental health. So hopefully we get 30 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week. No, I know we are working people, and we are busy people, but I hope these are things that we could also um take into account. Remember, yung 8 dimensions of wellness, this also includes physical dimension. Ayan. Next, sleep. Um, Ayan, hindi ko na kayo tatanungin. I know for siguro for some of us, marami talagang guilty din dito. And pero I also know from what I've heard, for some people it's also really working, no, yung work from home setup, kasi they get to sleep more. I mean, travel time is reduced kasi nga we don't go to offices. So yung travel time minsan allotted na siya for sleeping time, ganyan. Siguro yung, yung iba sa atin sometimes pagkagising, work na agad. No, so yan, I hope na at our for our age, no, right now, of course the recommended sleeping hours pa rin is 6 to 8 hours a day. So I hope hindi natin um we don't deprive ourselves of sleep. Ayan. Next is set boundaries. Um, and in terms of setting boundaries, number one that I could really encourage you to do is to separate your workstation from your bed. Yan. So yung ginawa nga ni ate kanina, it's not very encouraged. Um, what I do right now is, well, for this week, admittedly, lumalabas kasi ako ng bahay, kasi nga I feel like I'm more productive when I am not at home. Pero when I am working at directly talaga sa bahay, my bedroom, nag-set talaga ako ng isang place, no, where doon lang talaga yung workstation ko, my work laptop is there, all the things that I need for work is there. And then even when I take breaks, lunch break, yung 15-minute coffee break, ganyan, or break lang talaga na gusto ko lang huminga, ganyan, I step out of that room or that work area sa house namin so that I can really take my mind off work. Kasi at the end of the day, um, we need breaks in between. I mean, breaks are really um, made no for a reason. Eh di ba nga kanina, we discussed na sometimes when something is being done for a long period of time, it really causes exhaustion no for us human beings. Ayan. Kahit nga batteries, 'di ba? May ano, kailanganin din mag-recharge, 'di ba? So, what more tayo? Ayan. And then work within your shift. Ayan. This one sometimes I'm guilty about it, but one thing I can share with you is when I compare myself from my work before to my work now, I ano na siya, it's managed na in a way na kapag hindi ko na kaya, yun nga sabi din ng boss ko, hindi naman mauubos ang trabaho and may bukas pa din naman, no? So if hindi na kaya, at the same time, if hindi mo na rin work shift, no, then take a break and then come back stronger the following day. Ayan. This also includes taking your breaks. Not because you are working from home, it means na you get to work 24 hours a day. Okay? So, if it's your lunch break, honor your lunch break, eat, take a shower. You're working from home anyways, but take a shower, watch your favorite series on next or Netflix, take a nap, no? So, honor your breaks. Because, yun nga, tao tayo, kailangan natin magpahinga. We need these breaks to recharge and refuel ourselves. Which also brings me to the fourth one, no, which is use your personal time off. We have naman vacation, not just vacation leaves, by the way, also sick leaves. If ever na you feel like you really can't go to work on that day to recover and recuperate, or you really cannot, for some reason you cannot, I really encourage you to take your breaks. I know it's easier, I mean your leaves, I know it's easier said than done, no, pero if you get to practice it, it really helps. Yeah, yun nga, it's ano ba, at the end of the day, taking care of ourselves sometimes really requires us to take actions that we don't usually do, no. And that includes if you're not fond of using your vacation leaves, even if we're in the work from home setup, you might think, hindi naman ako lumalabas, hindi naman ako pwede mag-travel, no, but still, yun nga, take a staycation, get your rest, get your well-deserved rest, no, and use your personal time off. Next, this one I learned recently, no, a lot at time for worry time. No, so in terms of course, of course, with our work, you know, with our jobs, our everyday jobs, there really are things that we cannot um parang avoid worrying about. So I learned na it's also important for us, for individuals now or for employees to set a worry time once a day, once in the 8-hour workday, no. Um, and then think about all the things that you should worry about. Mga 15 minutes. And then eventually kasi when you think about those things, you get to also para refresh your mind, and eventually sometimes dun mo rin realize kasi yung mga solutions to the things that you're worrying about. So setting a worry time also would help you be mindful of whatever is happening around you as well. Ayan. And then lastly, ayan, get a life. May ano lang, very alam mo yan, again no, Irina have mentioned, we really need to have work-life balance, not because it's something na well promoted around, organizations perhaps, but because at the end of the day, when we look at the dimensions of wellness, we need to pay, or we need to allot time for other stuff other than work. No, because these things can help, again, parang yung harmony and yung balance between the eight dimensions of life para ma-fulfill silang lahat. Because at the end of the day, again, I've said that I've said this a lot of times in this discussion. Work does not satisfy all the dimensions of wellness. And we need, as human beings, we need to exert time and effort for all the other dimensions of wellness to have balance. Again, that's it. And one final note, no, is actually not just in the work context, no, but really as a personal, um so gonna treat this as a personal note because this is also one of the things na parang I promote as a mental health advocate, no, is pay attention to the things that make you grateful you're alive. Well, they can be not things lang, they can be people, um they can be habits, ganyan, or passions, no. Because this also, ano ba yan, parang gives us more motivation in life to pull through and to survive one day at a time. And hopefully, yon, you also get to anong tawag dito? You get to para identify these things that make you grateful you're alive, because they also really help us. Ako, it has helped me on a day-to-day basis as well. So there, now at this point, yun, so again, no, siguro number one thing that I'd like to give emphasis on is there is no one best way to make our workplace sustain. It would really differ from one person to another. That is also why a while ago, if you can remember at the first part of the discussion, I asked you what your idea is of a healthy workplace, and at the same time, what is one important factor for you, no, to create a mentally healthy workplace. Because these things, siguro consciously or unconsciously, these are the things that are going to be um parang important for you as well in ensuring that you are creating that mentally or that sane workplace for yourself. No, those are your answers. Those are the answers of people in the call. And so practically, I think those are also the things that you need to pay attention to, no, in terms of ensuring that you are in a mentally healthy workplace. So that's it. And siguro before I end, no, just another mentee, actually the last one, another mentee activity for us is, sige, I will give the screen floor, the screen na to ano, to she. So the last question is, actually it's more of a challenge. Name one thing that you can do or that you can start doing, no, to make your workplace sane.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Talin. I feel like I was able to take so much notes. I really appreciate how you were able to bucket the tips into different aspects of wellness. Then while they're answering this, I think we can also move on to the Q&A portion because we've been receiving a lot of questions while you were speaking. So
Sige
we
lang.
chose the ones that cover the most ground. So this first question is from an anonymous person. 1 or 2 decades ago, companies were able to thrive without giving so much emphasis on mental health. Why do you think organizations and companies should invest on people's mental health now if certain companies had been doing well without it? And a lot of companies are still holding that kind of belief even now.
All right. Thank you very much for that wonderful question. Yes. Sige, I will start with my belief na with promoting awareness kasi, this also opens gates, doors and gates, no, to people accepting that there is a problem. No, people being aware that people being aware of mental health and mental well-being makes people accepting as well of mental health and mental health conditions. And because we are aware, we also get to learn that there is something wrong. And when there is something wrong, of course, there needs to be an approach, or it needs to be addressed. So that is why that is why it's important for employers to help people address those problems, or those if need be, nor if it comes to that, the mental health conditions of the employees as well. So yeah, it's it has been a long fight. Even in the Philippines, the mental health law, just ko, ilang years, how many years did it take, no, for it to be legalized, or for it to be enacted into law? And in the recent years, we also saw an increase in awareness of people around regarding mental health. That is why, that is why, so yun, ang pinanggagalingan basically is awareness of people, because people are aware, people become more accepting, and all the more that people need to address the concerns, because ayun nga, siguro one final note to answer that question: we don't want our children or the next generations to experience what the previous generations have experienced. And what they ano ba yung experience nila, diba? I mean, they have um kept what they felt in the dark, and we don't want that. We don't want people in the even us nga, diba, right now, even in the present, we don't want our loved ones feeling that way. So of course that also follows na we don't want the people in the next generations to feel that way as well. I hope that
Thank you
answered
so much.
your
Yes,
question.
definitely. I think we have time for one last question. Kurt, do you want to share it?
Yeah, so I have the second question here, and actually a very common dun sa submissions natin. A lot of people are asking about it. So the question is, what do we do if the reason for burnout is the boss or yung superior mo?
All right. Sige. Yeah, this is actually, I think it's also one of talagang common problems or concerns of individuals. And as I've mentioned a while ago, di ba nga sometimes talagang our bosses or our leaders are the ones, I mean, they sometimes are the reason for us either we stay or we leave organizations. No. My take on that is, um number one, naniniwala kasi ako sa gift ng feedback. And I know, and siguro you're telling me at behind your screens right now na hindi madali magbigay ng feedback if the boss is the problem, right? But I think it's really worth, ano, um it's an action worth taking. Nag-give feedback to your boss, because at the end of the day, doon naman dapat talaga magsisimula. Feedback in organizations should not only be done by bosses to their direct reports. It should also be done by direct reports to their bosses. So whatever, um if they're having challenges with the way they're being managed, no, then it's best that people give feedback to their bosses, because leaders, even if they are already at that position, even CEOs nga, di ba, they still need, they still have room for growth. They still need feedback for them to identify what can be changed, no, how can they better manage. Sabi nga, you have to know for you to grow. And um ayun, if ever that doesn't work, um ako, I would really encourage na, no, the employee to evaluate then on his or her options. I'm not saying by resign agad, no. But perhaps siguro there are also if you really can no longer take yung parang treatment or yung environment with your boss, if you've already given feedback and then hindi siya ma-accept or hindi siya parang the walang changes rather, no, then evaluate on your options. Is there a way for you to parang transfer to different team, ganyan. No, ako really do not promote resignation agad-agad, because in an organization naman, you have to look into different factors, no. So wag resignation agad, ayan. And then just to share, no, before, my previous boss would always ask us, ano, how can I be a better manager for you? So, and I think that's also one of the things na leaders should start doing. I mean, and eventually, no, act on that. And siguro that's also one point. I'm not sure if I was able to share it a while ago. Ano talaga siya, cultivating a mentally healthy environment in the workplace. It, ano siya, dapat lahat talaga ng tao is working, is to be giving effort into it. It will not work if one level is not doing it. Like if the leader is not doing it, it will not parang hindi siya it will not make sense. If only the employees are working on it, creating a safe space, it will still um remain as a toxic one if one parang end of the equation is not working. Ayan. I understand it's a tough predicament. Yan. Pero yun nga, at the end of the day, we have to take action.
Okay, thank you so much, Talon. We really enjoyed having you here with us today. We really enjoyed your presentation. It was very engaging and informative. And at this point, we just want to show our appreciation. So go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, so thank you so much again to Talin for joining us today. I think it was a really good presentation, and I hope, given the remote, working setup that we have for a lot of us, I thought that especially the end, the how part, the takeaways were very concrete kasi nga, it's so hard to manage yung lines nung work and being at home. So minsan malabo na siya. And I think the key takeaways for me are the value of having an empathic leader, someone who really cares about your team, and taking those small steps to create safe spaces for other people. And I also liked how there were also a lot of takeaways na people can do individually, like yung sinabi mo na engaging in your hobbies, things that you enjoy, and yung valuing your rest and your personal time off as much as you value your work. So yeah, with that, I would like to present the certificate of appreciation to Chrystalyn Condino for generously providing their time and expertise as a resource speaker for the webinar Navigating Mental Health in the Workplace for Inclusivity, held on the 3rd of July, 2021. So thank you so much, Talin. Maybe if you have last few words, or last few messages for our learners today before we turn it over to Chi for some final announcements.
Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you to the whole of the Positive Workplaces team. No, it's been ako rin nag-enjoy din talaga ako, and I hope I really was able to impart information, no, to everyone, and I hope it helps. Ayan lang. I hope you get to do more of these, no, helpful webinars as well. So thank you everyone, and please stay safe. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so before we end, we just have a few announcements. It's our there's one last week left to register for our adaptive leadership course. So this will be on 3 Saturdays, and you can see a glimpse of what will be discussed. And it will be led by Coach Lippy. He's a certified transformative coach and a Gallup certified strengths coach. And we're also now on Instagram, so please feel free to follow us if you have Instagram at Positive Workplaces. And if ever you want to see some resources, we also have articles, and we also have our free webinars in our website. So you just need to go to positiveworkplaces.org and go to the resources tab, and you'll have all of this there. And I think Athena's putting the links in the chat box now. And we're also now on YouTube. So if you missed the first 2 webinars of this series, they're both on our YouTube channel. So Athena's also dropping the link in our chat box. So feel free to subscribe if you want. If you miss any webinars, you'll be able to watch it through here, the recorded version. And Positive Workplace is also currently hiring. So we're currently looking for a part-time HR or OD consultant. And if you feel like you fit this role, feel free to send us your CV at learn@positiveworkplaces.org. And we're also looking for a learning and development associate and talent management associate. And if you want to apply, Athena's putting on a link for applications. So yes, we're opening our doors to all of you, whoever's interested. And follow us on Facebook for more updates at facebook.com/positiveworkplacesph. And thank you everyone again for coming today. This is our first Saturday session, so we're so happy with the turnout today. So thank you so much, everyone. Athena's putting the post-evaluation form in the chat box to claim your EAT certificate. So the form will close in 30 minutes, so please try to answer it as soon as you can. And thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a good Saturday. And thank you so much, Talent, for spending your Saturday with us also. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
The forms.
Oh, sorry, we will try to fix the form issue. Hold on.